Guys, a single whale came out yesterday and sold over $2 billion worth of Bitcoin. This wallet has did have around $20 billion. So the wallet still has 152,000 Bitcoin left to sell, which is an insane amount for one individual or one entity to hold. And they sold it on the weekend, man. How savage is that? They sold it on the weekend when there's low liquidity. You're supposed to be this Bitcoin maxi that's held for Bitcoin for so long, and you go and dump it on the weekend. Straight manipulation, and you can't predict this stuff, right? You really can't predict this, and it's a reminder as to why we set stop losses in this space, because anything could happen, right? Anything's around the corner. This wallet could go and sell another 5 billion, right? Look what it done to the market on a $2 billion sell. Imagine they go and sell 5 billion next weekend, or imagine they go and sell 10 billion on a weekend. Where's it going to take us? What's going to happen? Are you long? If you are, you're going to get liquidated if you don't have a stop loss, right? So crazy behavior. This is really not good for the space. It really worries a lot of, especially new holders. A lot of companies FOMO'd into BTC off the referrals from Tom Lee and a lot of the other institutional players. We had a lot of institutional FOMO this cycle. Retail were actually taking profits around 100k, but institutions kept buying and companies kept buying around historically the worst time to buy, right? And this will put some fears into them, put some worry into them. Obviously, they're trained to buy the dip, and they wouldn't have bought Bitcoin if they don't have conviction. But yeah, some people are going to panic sell off this. There's going to be a lot of fear going around. Over $720 million were liquidated in the past 24 hours. 500 million came from BTC and ETH longs getting completely wiped out. So I mentioned this in my video yesterday, didn't I? I said the market's probably going to come back a little bit and flush out some longs because Powell flipped bullish. We're probably going to get rate cuts. There's going to be a lot of euphoria back in the space. Ethereum actually started to rally into all-time highs. It had a little bit of a pullback, flushed out some longs, started to push up. And as it got closer to $5,000, Bitcoin was actually still trending down. So we was actually getting a sell-off, a slow, gradual sell-off on Bitcoin. Sorry, where's the, here's the BTC chart. So you see this sell-off here. We had this sell-off on Bitcoin as Ethereum was pushing up to all-time highs. And I said, this is odd because it looks like the Ethereum's trying to front run the market tomorrow, but BTC's coming down. And then we had this whale sell. And it was just as ETH was coming up to that $5,000 level, where $2.2 billion in liquidations was going to happen on ETH if it went over 5,000, and then we had this massive sell-off in BTC. So another theory that I've come up with is maybe, this is a conspiracy, guys, but maybe the whale actually was short on ETH. We know that a lot of institutions are short in Ethereum, as well as retail, but a lot of it's institutional for whatever reason. And we know that it reached all-time highs recently, right? So a lot of people are in disbelief with this ETH move. Obviously, a lot of people think it's Tom Lee, and a lot of people are shorting, and they don't want it to go up to 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 because they're going to get liquidated. And a way to bring Ethereum down, if you don't have Ethereum, right? So a lot of people might have actually run out of Ethereum to sell. Let's say you were trying to bring the price down. You've been selling it, but Tom Lee and the crew keep buying. Another way to bring it down is actually to bring Bitcoin down. If you still have hordes of Bitcoin, and bringing Bitcoin down aggressively would bring the whole market down, technically temporarily. But if you've only sold 2 billion and you've got another $17 billion, a lot of the market might be wondering, this person obviously doesn't care about the space, otherwise they wouldn't have dumped it on a weekend. What are they going to do next weekend? What are they going to do 2 weekends from now? The market historically comes to an end in the next few months. I might de-risk, right? So it could potentially shake a few people out. It was obviously manipulation. Maybe they were shorting and they wanted to print off their shorts, but they still have so much Bitcoin left to sell, and we don't know when they're going to sell that, if they're going to hodl it. Grant Cardone come out saying, why would someone dump a load of BTC on a Sunday night? So I think Grant was a part of the institutional FOMO that came in this cycle. And yeah, again, this is the sentiment that a lot of them are going to be feeling right now. They're going to be feeling a lot of fear. They've not sat through this before. I literally posted, didn't I, recently, saying most people have been very fortunate this cycle. You have BlackRock and the White House pumping your bags with no real tests or fears. how funny is this? It was the 19th of August. It was literally, 6 days ago. Last cycle, we had many 30 to 40% corrections, F2 pull, SEC. This cycle, the buy the dip mentality, the buy the 2% dip mentality has become very normalized. A 30% dump would wreck many. And I think that's true. A lot of people have not been tested. They've not seen a real pullback, a real manipulated pullback. Because last cycle, F2 pull used to dump Bitcoin on a regular basis. And Bitcoin would come down 10K, right? We'd go from 50K to 40K in a day, which is a massive move, especially when the asset is 50K in value and it comes down to 40K. And it's so many liquidations, so many people got wrecked, so many people would flip bearish at 40K and then they'd pump the market back up. It was wild, and I think a lot of these companies and institutions haven't sat through this yet, haven't been through this, and this is it's almost one of the first kind of scammy wicks we've had this cycle, where a single entity has proved what they can do to Bitcoin price with just a small allocation, right? It was only around I think it was maybe 2.7 billion, and they still have 17 left. Imagine if they sold 17 all at once. We probably would have dropped, into the low 100K ranges, and people would have been terrified. And how much more do they have, right? How many more whales are out there? This is just one entity. How many more whales are out there with $20 billion in Bitcoin? How many more whales are out there with $10 billion in Bitcoin who are seeing these dormant wallets that haven't sold for 6 years, 7 years, 8 years, suddenly start to wake up, suddenly start to dump on the market? And then you're going to get the quantum questions, right? Is this a wallet that someone lost and has now been able to get access to it via quantum? Who knows? We don't know. And we're not going to know that until loads of these dormant wallets start to open, right? It's not going to be a headline news that someone now has this technology to crack Bitcoin, because Bitcoin's going to go to it's going to go down 70, 80, 90% the next day or week. So this is how we would see it. I don't think this is a quantum hack because of how the money was moved, and it was moved to Binance and stuff. But yeah, it's always possible. Coinbase came out. Beanie posted saying this cycle is over, see you in 2027, and it's sarcasm, right? It's sarcastic, but he's actually got a very good point. Brian Armstrong is pushing S coins, so crappy meme coins, saying owning a piece of this is content creativity. It isn't a shitter. And the market cap of this was around $5 million, right? So we've got Brian Armstrong, the CEO of Coinbase, that's just entered into the S&P, posting about S coins at 5 million cap. Who knows what kind of manipulation might be going on here? Who knows who's bought the dip on these before marketing them? But if this had happened last cycle, that a meme coin like this would have gone crazy, right? If Coinbase CEO was posting a meme coin of 5 million last cycle, it would have been 500 million the next day. It's just a sign of the times of how crazy this market has become, how much these blue chip companies are marketing useless coins, useless meme coins that have no utility. And it's sad, man, because there's businesses that are devoting their lives to try and make real utility. There's devs working around the clock trying to build, and they're investing their life savings. I know devs that have put literally their life savings into companies that have been cool, but just they couldn't get it off the ground. They couldn't get the market in. It was too expensive to list. Some of these exchanges, it costs $250,000 to list on their exchange. Then you've got to pay for market makers. It's in a very expensive industry, and people are devoting their lives and trying to invest this money to try and create these cool utility dApps that might get institutional interest, right? Might bring companies into the space, might bring Web 2 into the space. And we have Brian Armstrong posting and listing meme coins. They listed useless. Literally, the coin is called useless. It does nothing. And Coinbase listed it over a project like Casper, for example, which has been referenced by Grayscale. Like even Grayscale, who are an institutional company looking for, the future of digital finance. And, they referenced how great Casper was, and they're listing coins like useless. And it's not good for the space. Devs see this and they're like, well, why should I even sit here, invest my money and try and build, strong utility dApps that might revolutionize the digital financial space? Why should I sit here and invest this when you're just going to promote these useless coins that have no utility, that don't mean anything? And 99% of them are going to go to zero, right? It's absolutely it's insane. And it's insane for them to be doing it around the same time that they're going to be joining the S&P 500, right? They're getting added into the S&P 500 and they're listing meme coins and promoting these $5 million meme coins. It's crazy. They need to sort their behaviors out. I'm really done with Coinbase. If this is how they're going to act, like they really need to sort their act out. If the future is listing meme coins and trying to liquidate leverage traders, I mean, what kind of future is that? DTSI. Now we've talked about the Coinbase devs before because this was a project that I believe. I think this tweet. Did he mention Jesse in this tweet? I think he did mention Jesse in this tweet. I can't see it here, but I think he did mention Jesse or tag Jesse, who created Base, who helped Brian create Base. And, some of these devs have actually rugged previous projects, right? I said here back in, you probably remember this one, guys, January 9th, when we had all of these bots taking off. This project was actually launched by a Coinbase developer. And, this one of the reasons I bought into it is because it was launched by Coinbase dev. And I said, surely we didn't get rugged by an active Coinbase dev, right? And we did. This project went down 99%, and they stopped putting a lot of effort into it, stopped caring about it. So I'm really done with Coinbase, guys. They act like clowns, they behave like clowns, they list clown projects. The devs in their projects can just launch projects and say, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Mate, you work at Coinbase, you're a dev at Coinbase. What are you talking about? You didn't mean to do that. You know exactly what you're doing when you launch a coin under your public wallet, and then it does this straight after. I'm really done with Coinbase. I don't want to use them. I'm going to try everything I can not to use them. On top of that, they had the data leak, right? They leaked everyone's data, everyone's private information. Like, what sort of Fisher Price company is this? And if they're going into the S&P 500 behaving like this, it's not good for the space, guys. Gainsey posted, CEO of Coinbase shilling his shit thinking he helped Base out, but really he just opened the floodgates for everyone to shill shitters on launch pads and L2s actually being used. It's just terrible for the space, and this is the kind of behavior you see at the end of the market, guys. Same thing happened last cycle. The degeneracy goes crazy. The CEO of these institutional companies go crazy. Everyone starts buying meme coins and leverage trading on too much leverage, and the exchanges are trying to liquidate everyone. They start sending, we see loads of flows going to Wintermute from Coinbase and Binance. We see all of this ETH, Solana, Bitcoin go into Wintermute, and then shortly after the price is completely tanking or completely pumping, right? It's become a bit of a cowboy show, and where their focus is to liquidate traders. And what happens if you make a lot of money in trading? Like what did I do? For example, I made 200k. I said, guys, I'm taking this off the market. I'm going to buy Bitcoin with it, right? I'm taking the money out to buy Bitcoin. I'm taking it out. What happens if you keep liquidating traders? That money is not coming back into the market, right? It's going into the CEO of Coinbase's hands. It's going into the CEO of Binance's hands. It's going into a select few who are already stacked. Don't forget, these guys have had Ethereum from the start, right? So they're already billions and billions of dollars in profit on their Bitcoin, on their Ethereum, on lots of their altcoins. It's not good. It's not healthy for the space. Latest from Trump's crypto advisor, David Bailey. He says there's not going to be another bear market for several years. This is hilarious. We see the same tweets. One thing that doesn't change about these markets is humans. Humans are very predictable, and they get bullish at all-time highs and they get bearish all-time lows, and we can count on that to always be the same. People are getting slightly smarter. People are researching. I think with YouTube, more people are going on YouTube, more people are researching, more people are using AI now as well. Some people are using sophisticated tools, but generally most people are a bit, I don't want to say the R word, but most people they just fall victim to FOMO. They just get bullish on green candles. They get bullish on red, and this is, get used to this, right? This time's different. We'll get said a lot towards the end of the market. This time's different. We're not going to see another bear market. Institutional adoption is here now. you start to see the same things every cycle. You know, Cathie Wood said Bitcoin can go to 500k. Tom Lee, Bitcoin is going to Ethereum's going to 16,000. I even saw Tom Lee come out and say Ethereum's going to 100x. He said it's having its Bitcoin 2017 moment. 100x. Do you know what market cap that puts Ethereum on? $40 trillion. Okay, 40 trillion. Bitcoin is currently around 2.4. Is it 2.4 trillion? Something around that. And he's saying it's going to 100x. It's not having its 2017 moment because the market cap is 400 billion, mate. Right? So it couldn't even possibly have its 2017 moment. It's actually not far away from half the price of Bitcoin. So, you know, its 2017 moment was, you know, when the price of Ethereum was $200, right? So you've missed that. You've completely missed that. So very misleading words, very misleading terminology. I don't think people quite understand. They see Ethereum is 4K, and when they hear the words, oh, Ethereum is having its Bitcoin 2017 moment, they think, oh, when Bitcoin was 4K, oh, and now it's 100K, and so I'm getting actually to buy Ethereum at 4K, and soon it could be 100K, right? That's kind of what retail are thinking, when in fact the market caps are horrendously, you know, out of sync. And it's all about the market caps. It's not about the price. But retail don't look at that, right? They just look at the price. Oh, it's under $1. It's cheap. When in fact, you know, I've bought things over $1,000 per token that have been cheaper market cap size than things under $1, right? So yeah, crazy. I posted this on Twitter. Random BTC OGs come out and dump billions on the market on a Sunday. People will tell you this is an extended cycle. No one wants to give up their BTC. Exchange supplies are running out. Same old headlines each cycle. Nobody gives an F. You are exit liquidity every bull run, and unfortunately, most won't see it until we actually enter a bear market. So I posted in Grok here. I said, can you find me some tweets from people who said Bitcoin won't have a bear market or really high price targets from the last bull run around the top of the market? So Grok's come back, and Grok AI is incredible, right? I must have like 7 different AI platforms that I pay for monthly, and I'm using all of them, guys. It's phenomenal. During Bitcoin's last major bull run peak in 2021, so it hit around 69k in November. There was widespread optimism. Many influencers and analysts predicted extremely high prices like 100k, 200k. Some even said 500k by the end of the year. Don't forget, that period is where we are right now. Okay, so that same period where everyone was saying we're going higher, 100k, 200k, is exactly where we are right now. Often tied to ideas like a super cycle, extended bull run without traditional bear market, literally what we're seeing right now in the market. Others explicitly dismissed bear market fears. I've compiled a selection of notable tweets from September 2021 to January 2022, matching the time around all-time high. So listen, this is going to be some. There's going to be some KOLs called out here. I don't know who they are. I know who some of them are. This isn't a dig at them personally. I'm just trying to show you. And Grok has picked this randomly, right? So I'm not actually targeting anyone. I'm just trying to show you that what the sentiment was around the sort of times we are now, and how wrong a lot of these predictions were, right? So Crypto Tony has 544,000 followers, so huge community. December the 10th, 2021, around the top of the market. If you're panicking here and calling for a bear market, then you're clearly inexperienced. No signs of a bear market at all. 100,000 next year incoming for Bitcoin. Okay. And then next year, I think the price of Bitcoin was 16,000. So couldn't have been more wrong. Dismissed the bear calls. Coins Kid has 151,000 followers. What happens to this 6 months shooting star candle spelling the end game for Bitcoin? Yet again, the perma bears were wrong. Will the same ones be wrong? Won't hit 100k this year, and it does. So Mox Bears expects 100k to 200. Sorry, in 2022, and it's around the top of the market. Dan BTC, 19,000 followers. I think BTC will likely push significantly above 100k at the peak of the bull market. Strong trend in fundamentals driving Bitcoin. So predict over 100k. I won't waffle on about all of these guys. Julian, 99k followers, optimistic for 100k end of year. This was around the top of the market. Johnny has 117,000 followers. Top of this bull run equals 200k, at least 80% down from 200k. So he had a high target of 200k, and then it went down to 16k. Aggress Trades, 21k followers. Highlight shifting target from 200 to 300,000. Crypto Calio, 721,000 followers. Predicts 100k plus with up only mentality. Julian Hosp, he posted another tweet, so we're seeing him mentioned him multiple times. 100k by Christmas, and then it was around the top of the market. Tech Dev, I actually watched Tech Dev. He's quite funny. I can't see Bitcoin going past 100k. Who's going to buy then? Oh, he's doing in brackets. He's making fun of people who said it won't go to 100k. So he's actually mocking the bears who were taking profits at the top, and he said it's going over 100k. So that's another thing you see. You see people mocking the people taking profits. Very, very common around the top of the market. They'll start to make fun of people. When I started to sell my altcoins in March 24, when I was taking profits, people were mocking me for taking profits when I was 25x up. So, if I put 10k into that on render, it would have been 250k, $250,000 in like a year or so. And people were making fun of me. They weren't saying, congratulations, nice play, well done, GG bro, like you smashed it. They were saying, you're an idiot, wrecked, dumb brain, smooth brain. It's very common for people to make fun, and they're trying to convince themselves that they're not making a mistake and that they're right. And they do that by mocking you and making fun of you. It's crazy. Like, if you can understand retail psychology, you can actually kind of play these markets along with the tools, right? Market Rebels, 349,000 followers, crazy amount of followers. Sites analysts predicting 100 to 200k in 2022, and it went to 16k. Like, how different is that? Imagine 200k down to 16k. Such a difference. Also, we'll talk about it now. If you bought Bitcoin here, because people will argue, oh, well, it went up to 100k in the end anyway. So let's say you bought here at 65k because everyone was saying higher, we're going to 200k Bitcoin, and let's say you bought at 65. All of the analysts have been here for 5 years, right? They must know what they're doing. I'm new to the space. I'm going to take their word for it. So you buy it all-time high, and price comes down to 16k. You got several different challenges here. You have to sell. You have to not try and sell. Okay, so first of all, you have to try and not sell. You just bought at 60k. You don't want to be selling at 40k. You don't want to be that guy who got it wrong. Everyone is saying buy the dip, buy the dip. I'm just going to buy the dip, and it keeps coming down and down, and before you know it, you're in a bear market and the price is 16,000. So you're down massively. Okay, so you're down massively. You're down. You put in let's say you put in 100k. At all-time high, you're down to 30k, 25k. You feel sick to your stomach, and now you have to hold and not sell. And what do we know about retail? Most of them sell near the bottom. They sell, it goes down 60%, they get worried. 70%, they've had enough, they're out. Everyone is saying crypto's dead, and this is where you get most of the fear. A lot of the catalysts start to kick off, like FTX going down, USDC will depeg, loads of catalysts to shake people out of the market. It's one of the hardest things to sit through. And if they did sit through it for 4 years, they had to watch everyone print gains, right? Everyone printed who bought the bear market, who waited to buy the bear market. They've had to watch everyone's gains go crazy. And they're still, even today, not sitting at 2x, right? So just by buying at the worst time in history, they haven't made any gains really, and Bitcoin might even come below their price again. So Bitcoin might go into a bear market, it might come below 65k, 67k, and they're again at a loss, and that might be after 6 or 7 years of holding, right? Insane. It's insane, guys. It's but where you buy makes such a huge difference to your journey in this space. Johnny, again, I think we've looked at some of Johnny's end of year, 100k. Most of it looks 140k, misconfig. 39k followers, 140k, 100 trillion. This was plan B, right? Calling for 200k. It has 2 million followers. Crazy. Carl the Moon, 500k. Very high range, up to 500k by March 2022. Well, he said between 100k and 500k. So yeah, same old thing we see each cycle. What were we doing last cycle? Taking profits, right? The market had pumped like crazy. I bought Ethereum. I bought Ethereum at $200, around $200. And look at the price. It went to $4,800. Okay, so like over a 20x, over 2,000%. We came into this rising wedge. Now, I'm not going to say I called the top here because I said I've placed a little short on Ethereum as we've hit the top of this rising wedge. And everyone was the same here, guys. When I was shorting, when I was taking profits, everyone was frothing at the mouth. This time's different. Michael Saylor's buying. Elon Musk is here. Institutions are buying. People are applying for ETFs. Everything's different. This super cycle, extended cycle, ridiculing me. Everyone was calling me an idiot. I was selling altcoins. People were saying you're an idiot for selling Cardano. It was like $3. You're an idiot. It's going to $10. You're going to regret this. There was no well done. You know, well done. You bought Cardano at 10 cents. You know, well done. You bought Alluvium. You bought Ethereum at 200 and you're taking profits here. There was no well done. There was no congratulations, GG, bro. It was wrecked, smooth brain, retard, idiot. It was the usual, right? Same with Alluvium. I think we got Alluvium at $40. It went to $1,800 in the gaming bull run craze. So I said BTC's breaking down here. Why do I talk about BTC when looking at altcoins? Well, BTC comes down, altcoins come down, guys. So you have to be looking at both. I said it was tough to sell, but I'm glad I sold. ILV looks like it's finally about to break 1K, so I sold above this. I don't know where it was. It was over like 1,200, but it was nowhere near the top. The top was like 1.8K, and you know, I bought it at 40, and it's like going into thousands. It's crazy. Imagine we are going, and I posted here saying, imagine we are going into a bear market. So this is around the end of the market. Imagine we are going into a bear market. Everyone thinks we are going to skyrocket in January. So January is in this January coming up, but pull it back to October. Would be classic for BTC to go into a bear market then, and shortly after Bitcoin went into a bear market and altcoins came down. I mean, if you look at, let's look at Alluvium today. Let's have a look at Alluvium. I sold it at 1,200, price today $14. It's cheaper today. It's cheaper today than I bought it back in 2021. That's insane. Imagine if I'd have not taken profits. Some of the guys actually said I'm holding for higher. I hope they didn't hold all the way down, man, because you know, this is the game, guys. This is the altcoin game. You buy low, you sell high. You don't have to be a rocket scientist. And look at everyone who had conviction and held and called me an idiot, called me stupid. They made nothing, and if anything, they probably ended up in a massive loss, right? Because a lot of the people didn't actually buy when we bought down here at $40. A lot of the people actually started to buy at $250 and $280 and $500 and you know $1,000, and now it's $14. This is the price you pay. So yeah, of course, look, it wasn't the same across the board. I definitely sold some things a little bit late. I definitely didn't have a proper DCA strategy like I have this cycle. But yeah, I'm just trying to point out to you guys how this market moves, and some of these headlines, and when it gets frothy and people are calling for higher, most of them are going to be wrong, right? Look how many followers these people have, and people still follow them and listen to them. Look how many predictions were wrong. And if 90% of people lose, that means 90% of the posts on socials are going to be wrong. Even me, I'm making predictions, I'm making calls, right? Even I'm going to be wrong. And that's why I have a DCA out strategy. I'm aware that I might be wrong about some of these calls, and that's why I don't try to make these predictions, especially around the end of the market, right? I just dollar cost average out. Every time the market peaks, I take some more profits off the table. Where are we now with BTC? So we had this crazy scam sell-off, right? We had this manipulated $2 billion sell-off on a Sunday. I don't like it. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. We had our support down here. We had bullish PAL. Okay, let's send it. Let's try and move to the upside. And then we had, this sell-off into a scam wick. I really don't like it. And, the new support down here, we have support down here, and we have resistance up here. These are the areas I'm looking to trade. I'm not really looking to trade no man's land because, look, let's say you go long here, right? Let's say you go long here. They could flush you out. Let's say you go short. They could flush you out. We could do anything here, right? Until we get to some resistance or support, I'm not really interested in trading it. Sometimes the best trade is no trade. I did hit my stop losses, so you guys know I was in some huge profits here. I'd started taking a lot of profits off the table. I think I took like $15,000 profits off, but left the moon bag on in case we went higher, and we just came down, and then I ended up hitting my stop losses. But again, no one went broke taking profits. Thank God I took profits off the table. I've called this as potential top of the market. You guys know I've been getting a lot of stick. A lot of people have said smooth brain, calling top of the market. But I'm not going to waffle on about it because you guys know the patterns that I see here, right? I've said we might be going into a repeat of this, what happened last cycle. M pattern, right? M pattern, double top. And this has been the top every cycle, bear in mind. Okay, so unless we close a monthly candle here, this time is not different. Okay, if we close a monthly candle above this yellow resistance, okay, this time's different. This might have been flushes because everyone would have gone short at this yellow resistance, and they might have been trying to flush the market. If this plays out, and look at the yellow, guys, the SMC downtrend is pointing to a yellow downtrend here and a yellow downtrend here. We haven't printed this yellow candle here, but look, yellow candle here. We're trying to print a yellow candle here. This monthly candle closes in 6 days. If this closes yellow, we're literally looking at a symmetrical repeat of last cycle. If this closes yellow, and it's not just the yellow, look at the grays. Grays into green, into yellow. Grays into green, into yellow. Into the resistance that's been resistant since 2018. Too many patterns. We have our bull run trend line here, right? The white line. Bull run trend line. Last time we had this yellow candle, it was a massive sell-off the next month. Where are we going into? September. Historically, very bearish month, right? I think we're going to have a very bad September. If we have a very bad September and we start to repeat history, we could come back and do this, right? We could literally come back and follow the last cycle move. If anything, it looks like that's exactly what's going to happen. The cool thing about this is we can't go into another bull run without getting a buy signal from the SMC bot. We had a buy signal down here. We had a buy signal down here. We had a buy signal down here. If the SMC moving average keeps creeping up like this, Bitcoin really needs to come down, right? Let's say we repeat what happened last cycle. And the SMC moving average keeps creeping up like this. And then it kind of rolled over a bit here. It went sideways, and then it moved up into the next cycle. It's almost impossible for us not to get a buy signal from the SMC bot. As soon as we come below and we come back above, we're going to get a buy signal to indicate the start of the next bull run. So I'm not panicking. Personally, I'm not panicking. I'm more focused. Where has most of our money been made this cycle? Buying here, right? It wasn't buying altcoins up here. It was I was selling altcoins here. I was selling altcoins here. I was taking profits off the table. I'm looking forward to the bear market, and we have so many different indicators that are going to potentially give us the bottom of this bear market, right? It's not just the SMC bot. We also have Glassnode, which has been phenomenal, right? Every time we've come into the red, bottom of the market, bottom of the market, bottom of the market. Every time we come down to this orange line, bottom of the market, bottom of the market, bottom of the market. Where's the orange line now? Miles away, right? We need to get back close to this orange line. So we have so many different indicators that are potentially going to give us our bottom area. And if this plays out, I'm open to this playing out differently. If we close a monthly candle above this yellow, happy days, right? Then I expect we might see higher prices. But for now, the trend is your friend. We're at resistance. What do we do? And it feels like Bitcoin's dumped. It hasn't even moved, guys. Bitcoin is at all-time high. I don't care whether it's 111K. It's at all-time high. Look, like it's here. How disappointed would you be if you shorted here? Look where the price came down to. It came down to 16K. Yeah, it's at all-time high right now. I mean, look, 120K, 111K, there's nothing in it. It's literally around all-time high. The dump hasn't even started yet. If we are going into a bear market, the dump hasn't even got, the fun games haven't even started yet, guys. It's going to get brutal. People are going to lose their minds if we go into a bear market. how symmetrical. Like, you can't argue with this, right, guys? You literally can't argue with this. People are going to call me out, call me smooth brain. This is a symmetrical pattern, and even the colors are printing the same now, which is worrying. I don't want to short dumps. We didn't get a scam wick last time. Like last time we topped here, we didn't get a scam wick retest. So I love to short the retests. We didn't get a scam wick retest. The September candle, I'm gonna call this September even though it's December, because this is repeating where we were. This is our potential September candle, and I'm expecting a red month in September. So if we come down to this white line next month, the price could be 90k. And who's ready for that? I don't think anyone's ready for a 90k Bitcoin next month. That would terrify people. And we didn't even bounce off that level last cycle. We didn't even bounce off that level. We just consolidated and went into a bear market. Just my TA, guys. Just my TA. Doesn't mean it's going to happen. Doesn't mean it have to happen. Smaller time frames. Where are we? Ethereum bouncing off the 4-hour SMC. What do we do? Long support, short resistance. I didn't take this trade personally. Some of the guys in my Discord did take the trade because it came down to the SMC moving average. We're still on a buy signal from the SMC bot, and it come back and retested. And big psychological number as well. You could say it was close to 4.5k. And usually we do bounce off this level. I didn't take it because I don't see the greens down here. I didn't see the buy pressure down here. Maybe that will change with the ETFs opening. Maybe the ETFs will buy the dip. The market's literally about to open. So maybe we'll see some buy the dip. Maybe we'll see some sells, right? Maybe we'll see some whales who are worried about this random whale that's got 17 billion of BTC that isn't afraid to sell at corrupt times, so to speak. So yeah, for now we're bouncing. Trend is your friend. If I was in a trade here, I would just simply set a stop loss below the SMC 4 hourly. So I'd set a stop loss here. Stop loss here. Can't really lose that much, right? And hopefully we can push to the upside and I can make some gains here. Where are we at? So yeah, I've talked about this. Statistically, there is no way to enter a new bull run on BTC without getting a buy signal from the SMC bot. If we do, this time will be different. This will be the first time we haven't, and the price would have to stay very, very high for us not to do that. The higher we stay, the higher the floor is going to be. Okay, so you can see the SMC bot moving average is creeping up. So yeah, the longer we stay up here, the higher the BTC price is. So don't forget, there's a lot of people who actually want us to come down. Like the banks didn't have a chance to get in, so they actually want the price to come down as soon as possible. Talked about this chart many times, so I won't waffle on about it, guys. Where are we? Worst time to buy. Green, worst time to buy. Best time to sell. Best time to take profits. Where did we take profits? Well, when we first spiked up here on the green, we took our initials. This was actually all-time highs for many altcoins. Like Render didn't come back to all-time highs here. Where did we take profits again? When we spiked up here in the green. And I still have my moon bag, and now I'm looking for my final sell. I'm hoping that we rally into October. I don't know, guys. I'm going to keep looking at the data. I am getting worried about this market, especially with these new sells and this froth, and everyone's calling for 200k BTC, 500k. I am getting worried. We're seeing all the signs that we're about to crash. We're seeing all the traditional signs that are about to crash. But historically is Q4. I didn't include it in this video, but I should have. Coinbase actually came out and said, let's see if we could find it actually. Coinbase came out and said, alt season, Coinbase alt season. Can we find it? Yes, perfect. Coinbase came out and said, alt season is coming. As September approaches, the transition to a full-scale alt season is likely. So this is not usually how alt season comes. You don't have Coinbase, one of the largest companies or institutions, exchanges, whatever, in the space coming and saying alt season is coming. And they even gave a month, right? They said in September, alt season is coming. This isn't how alt season usually comes, because if alt season is coming, well, I better buy all my altcoins in August, right? Because if alt season's coming, I better load up all my altcoins in August, maybe in July, ready for this big pump, because everything's going to pump in September. And then September comes, there's no alt season because everyone's already bought, waiting for alt season. And then everyone's like, there's no alt season. I'm dumping my bags. And then everyone just starts to sell, and alt season has already came, right? I think we got the dip on Solana at like $100, and it's now $200. That was the alt season, right? It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. People don't just wait till September and then start buying all of a sudden because it's alt season. You don't normally get, especially institutions like Coinbase, telling you the exact month that altcoins are going to pump. So, this isn't usually, this is more of a sell signal, if anything. It's not a buy signal when the largest companies are telling you this is when the market's going to pump. It's usually a sell signal, and people are actually sell off before that day comes. So another red flag and a spanner in the works for a bearish September. We might really see a bad September. And if we start to repeat this on the monthly, I mean, it's worrying. I mean, this is why I've sold, guys. I've sold. I'm still 65% in cash. I don't try and time the market. No one can time the market. It's almost impossible. All I do is every time we go into euphoria, every time we go into these peaks, and everyone's saying, we're going higher, higher, higher. No one wants to sell. No one wants to take profits. Who was selling their altcoins here? Nobody. No, there was no bearish videos on altcoins here. And a lot of altcoins topped. Like, many altcoins are down 90% from this peak here. And then we had the second peak. Altcoins got decimated. And then now I'm kind of waiting for this third peak. But who knows? Maybe we don't see a third peak. Look how fast it ended last cycle. Like, when we went into this green, it was over. Like, it came down. The price came down 50% in such a short amount of time. And altcoins, when Bitcoin comes down 50% like this, like in literally a few weeks, altcoins get decimated. If you think altcoins have crashed right now, wait till we go into yellow orange. You won't believe your eyes at the prices of altcoins, right? You'll see things that are $1 that are now 16 cents, 15 cents. It really does happen fast. And there is hundreds of billions of dollars sitting in altcoins that's waiting to be sold. And I think people feel like altcoins have dumped. They've not dumped. Render is, I'm still up nearly 10x, not quite 10x, maybe 8x, 7x on Render. I'm still up, 14x on Casper. I'm still up not quite 10x on Solana. I think we got Solana at $23. What's the price today? $180. Altcoins have not even dumped. They've not even got close, guys. And they could get absolutely decimated. So I'm not buying altcoins up here personally. If I am, it's going to be ETH and Solana, Sui, very low risk plays where there's liquidity. So if the market shifts, I have time to get out without sort of having massive losses. What do you guys think, guys? Me personally, I'm just being patient. I'm waiting for these pullbacks. I'm waiting to come back. The hardest game in this is having patience, right? It's the hardest part of this game is having patience and just buy. Where has the life-changing money been made? It's not been up here. It's not been up here. It's not been up here. It's been down here in the bear market. It's been down here in the bear market. It's been down here in the bear market. So I personally we've sat through this massive rally. Yes, it's been a massive rally. It was 16,000. It went to 124,000. Just hitting 100K was a dream. Right, a lot of retail actually sold at all-time highs. A lot of retail actually sold at 100K. Just getting to 100K was a dream. We went to 125, and Solana went crazy. Loads of altcoins went crazy. I think a lot of people didn't take profits off their altcoins this cycle. It feels like there was more profit taken last cycle than there was this cycle. It's been weird. I think a lot of people, because altcoins didn't do the gains that a lot of people were expecting. 25x is a lot. 2,500% is insane to me personally. That's why dollar cost averaged out. But I think people were expecting 50x, 100x, because altcoins done similar last cycle. Many altcoins done a 50x, 100x. Some things done 1,000x. And I think people were hoping and holding for that, and maybe held their altcoins down, which is bad, right? There's not much cash on the sides for them to buy back those altcoins. Whereas last cycle they took some profits, and then we had this another rally, and then it was over. What do you guys think is going to happen? What do you think on the market? Do you think we've topped? Do you think there's you can't argue that there must be a large percentage that we've topped. Is it the top? Who knows? But who cares when you've been taking profits? If you've been dollar costed average out, who cares if the market's topped, right? There's a lot of people who want the market to go higher because they didn't dollar cost average out. So this is just my strategy. Some people don't do this. Some people try to buy low and just sell all at once at a certain price. But when you dollar cost average out, you're not really fussed if the market goes down or crashes, right? You just sell more. If it goes down, we sell more until we're like 90% cash or whatever. Maybe some people would go 100% in cash. I'll just sell more, right? If we go up, I sell more. If we go down, I sell more. It doesn't really matter to me. I've got two outcomes that can happen. Market pumps into Q4, into October, great, I sell more. Market dumps, we go into a bear market, great, I sell more, right? This is the strategy that's worked for me, and I'm going to do the same next cycle. When everyone is frothing at the mouth, when everyone is getting bullish, I'm going to be selling and taking profits again. And when we come up to these levels at all-time highs, when we come back up to this yellow line, let's say this does top. If this tops, I mean, how long is this going to be the top for? We might even come back here. We might come back to this next cycle. Let's say we come down. We retest. Let's say we go sideways, bear market into September, October 2026. Start a new bull run. We come back up to our yellow 150. We might break this eventually, because surely 160 region's not going to be the top next cycle. Maybe 200k. We might hit this at 200k next cycle. 70k to 200k. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Maybe. Imagine this is resistance again next cycle. A lot of people are going to trade it as resistance, right? If it's taken so long to break through, a lot of people are going to trade it as resistance. Guys, don't forget to like the video. Drop a subscription if you want to stay up to date. I'm going to keep you guys updated as we go into a bear market. If we continue this bull run, I'm going to keep you updated with my strategy, what I'm doing. I know some of these indicators are very expensive, so I'm going to keep you guys updated when we go into the orange, when we go into the red. I'm going to be letting you guys know on YouTube, so you can see all of this data, and when I'm buying back into the market with my cash that I have on the side. None of the information in this video is financial advice. Do your own research. Investing in crypto is highly risky. You can lose all your money investing in anything, so always do your own research. I'm not a financial advisor. Yeah, if you want to join us, if you want to see my buy and sell alerts, you want to see my updates, maybe you want to get the SMC bot in your own trading view, so you can see these buy and sell alerts in your own trading view on whatever assets you want to look at. Go to my X, so head over to my X account, and at the top of the page you'll see my name here. Not this one at the bottom. Search that on X. It will bring up my account. Click the link here, and then in there you'll see my Patreon link. Click the Patreon link. You can get involved with us. You can join the Discord, and you can see the buy and sell alerts that we post in there. I think I've got some on here. Yeah, so I post alerts like this with my trades, what I'm doing. For example, took profits on the BTC and ETH short, stop loss to entry, opened a long, took profits, stop loss to entry. So you can see all of these buy and sell alerts that I post in the group. That's it for now, guys. Until then, I'll catch you in the next one.